And I guess what we'll do is we can get started, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so welcome everyone to the Style for It conversation about mental health and entrepreneurship. My name's Natasha Nurse. I'm the host and the ambassador for the company. And this beautiful woman virtually next to me, Faith Costa, she is an artist. She is a model. She is an advocate for body positivity and mental health awareness. And it is Mental Health Awareness Month. So this is really exciting because you're going to get everybody schooled on what mental health awareness is about, what to talk about, and how it interconnects with entrepreneurship. Because I think, you have a really interesting perspective as a model, as an artist, like, how it's affected your life and your career. And before we jump there, just quickly, why are we here? So StyleForIt is a plus size consignment platform, online platform that is dedicated to sizes 12 to 32. And women can buy clothes and not destroy the planet because you're buying from clothes that has already been made. So that's super fun and eco-friendly. You can make money off clothes that you already have. And then you can also just be a part of a community where you have access to content like this. And what was I going to say? And then with that, I'd love for Faith, for you to get started by just introing people. If they don't already know you, they're hiding under a rock, but maybe for the two people who don't know you in the world, who are you and why is mental health important to you?
So thank you for that wonderful intro as always. Yes, I'm Faith Costa. I am a plus size model, a social media influencer, a blogger, an artist, and a really strong mental health awareness, I believe, activist, if you like that word. For me, mental illness and health is a major part of my life. It is a part of all of our lives. Mental health is 100%. And some people who have mental illnesses, we get stigmatized. And, I think the thought that like people who have mental illnesses like cannot have a fulfilled life, cannot have a career, cannot have relationships, cannot, live out their dreams and have happy things in their life. And for me, with my mental illnesses, with like depression, anxiety, OCD, so on and so forth, there were definitely times in my life where I never thought that I would be able to do something in my life that I loved and enjoyed. I never thought that I would be able to have a passion and make a career out of it, because I thought that my mental illnesses would always hold me back. I thought that was always going to come first. And at this point in my life, I'm so happy that now it is kind of, I've tamed the beast quite a little bit, and I've really been able to see that while I still have my mental illnesses, I am able to have, quality of life, and, I've built a career for myself, and I think that's really, really important to share and show with people, because that is hope. That is showing that there is hope for others, because I know that even a few years ago, I never thought that I'd be able to do what I'm doing now because of mental health. So sharing those messages, sharing my story is really, really important, and that's why I'm here.
Okay, absolutely. I love it. And, I think what is key that I took from that is that, you've surprised yourself, right? That you've gone beyond things that you didn't know that you were going to do. And it's a good surprise, and it's an opportunity for you to give back and show other people, because they too probably are sitting questioning, right, whether or not they can do things. And you shouldn't be held back by anything, much less mental health issues, because we all have mental health issues. So, I think that you're braver than most, because you've gotten help and you're on a treatment plan and you're working and you're actively working towards being happy and sane and productive. And that's braver than probably the most average person who's not maybe conquering some of that inner demon. So when it comes to, because you told me about Mental Health Awareness Month, when it comes to that, what would you say is the biggest thing that people need to do for this month, if not just, every month, but specifically for this month?
Right. So for me, Mental Health Awareness Month is major. It always is a nice little check-in with myself, because throughout the year, I kind of tend to like let things slide with like checking in with myself, even checking in with others. And while I do identify as a mental health awareness activist, like I really like kind of put it into high gear. Almost every single day I'm sharing on social media whips about, like statistics and sharing that, letting people know that millions of Americans are, suffer from some sort of mental illness, like sharing that you're not alone, showing your own experiences, sharing interactions and inspirations and things that we can all relate to, because this is a very common thing. People have mental illnesses. This is common. This is not something to be, afraid of, or that's, rare, that you should be embarrassed about. This is something common. Most people have some sort of anxiety or depression at some point in their lives. It is a fact. And the fact that there's this major stigma around it, that we can't talk about it, we can't talk about therapy, we can't talk about medication, blows my mind, So for mental health awareness, I think it's our duty to kind of check in with ourselves. First of all, make sure that we're okay, number one, as we should all the time. But if this is your wake-up call, if this is the time that you're seeing things, to learning about yourself, awesome. Find resources and get the help that you need. Two, reach out to those who may need the help. Now that you have those resources, share it with those you love and care about, right? And then three, really find empowerment in that, and share your own story if you're comfortable with that, right? Because there's strength in connection.
Absolutely. I love that. And shout out to Trinette. Hello. She's joining, and you are giving her life with your comments and your wisdom. So yay. Thank you. Make sure you share this, and feel free to add in your questions and thoughts if this is, if you're dealing with mental health and entrepreneurship and or separate issues. We're here to talk about it. So now I think what would be nice is then, can you explain a little bit about how your mental health journey has been affected by kind of becoming a model, an artist, and an entrepreneur, and how do they mix, how do they not mix, and what are things that you've learned along the way?
It was hard, and it still is. I'm never gonna lie, I'm never gonna sugarcoat it. Doing what I've done with this career, and while having my history of my mental health and my illnesses, it's been a tough combination. One, because what I do is putting myself out there to the world purely, right? So in doing that, I had to really be comfortable with knowing myself, knowing my needs, knowing when to take breaks and rest, because it's exhausting, it's mentally exhausting, it's physically exhausting. These days when you feel overwhelmed and the depression is really kicking in, and you have to go to these events and shake hands and smile, and you have to sell yourself, right? And then you come home. I can't even tell you how many times I've gone home from events and just cried out of exhaustion.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I seem to disconnect there for a second. So how many times have I left an event, just been completely exhausted, gotten back home and broken down because I made it through the event and then just could finally just let it out. But it was really difficult, and it still happens sometimes, even long days after long shooting days where I'm doing photo shoots or events or things. I still, because you have to kind of like put on this mask a lot of times, and well, that's part of the job. I think that even for me to learn to know that I don't have to be extra, make it so aggressively, I should be able to say, if someone asks how I'm doing, I think I'm allowed to say, I've had better days. Today is a little bit rough, but I'm here and I'm doing okay. Everything's great. Everything's incredible. Sharing that, you're still going forward, you're still creating things. With my art, it's very cathartic, it's very therapeutic. That with my mental illness has always been a beautiful match. that combination is definitely more of a healthy fit. In the fashion industry and blogging and social media, it's kind of, water and vinegar, I feel like, right? They wouldn't normally go together. and you would
Yep.
think that it might
Yep.
be able to work. I definitely didn't think it would. But somehow after now it's been a few years of practice and
Yeah.
trial and error and
Mm-hmm.
learning, it's okay. And I'm doing it and I'm
Mm-hmm.
still growing my business. I'm still growing mentally and emotionally. And,
Mm-hmm.
I think because everyone is different, you have to be able to know yourself. People who have depression, we have dreams, we have aspirations, we want to be
Mm-hmm.
happy, we want
Yeah.
to do things that we once loved and hope to love again,
Yeah.
to find joy in things and to have quality of life.
Mm-hmm.
And though it may seem impossible, it's not. I am living proof of it. While every
Yes.
day is not easy, every day is worth at least trying. I always
Absolutely.
say. So if I
Mm-hmm.
can do it, anyone can do it because I've been in some of the
Mm-hmm.
darkest places you can possibly imagine. And though a lot of people might not realize that, and people who know
Yeah.
me probably don't know that, it is true. And for me to go to those
Mm-hmm.
places, to come out and build this career for myself and talk to people and share things and art and fashion and take photographs and kind of be a face for others to look to and connect
Yeah.
with. Like, I'm doing all of that currently with depression and anxiety and OCD
Mm-hmm.
and other things.
Yeah, wow, that's incredible. And I commend you again. That's why we were in a puddle of tears a couple of episodes ago, because, for you to just say all of that, right? It just shows how magnificent you really are and how brave you are, to even, to wake up and even push through, because that it's not easy, right? Depression isn't, like, oh, I'll just be depressed tomorrow, right? Like it's a real situation, and some people lose their lives to it, right? So it's it's a hell of a journey, and you're a hell of a woman to be able to push through and not give up on yourself and not give up on your glorious future that is ahead of you, that you keep manifesting every day that you push through, every day that you draw, every day that you take a picture. It's one step closer to whatever beautifulness is you're creating. So wow. I guess with that, then, what would you say? Absolutely. What would you say are like some key things to, like, how do you get through, right? Like on a practical level, right? Like if you're not feeling well in the morning, what gets you out of bed, right? And what are the things that you hold on to? What are the kind of techniques, things that you're doing, practically speaking, to get through this?
So literally every single day, I essentially have things that I need to do, coping skills, right? I've been lucky enough to have gone through therapy for many years, and therapy, I think, is super duper important, and that will kind of cater to your own wants and needs. For me personally, if I wake up, I'm not having a good day, I'm very depressed, I don't want to get out of bed, that's a hard situation to get out of, right? So I'm laying there and I think, what essentially what gets me out is knowing that I have obligations, because for me, what gets me out of bed and to do things is knowing that I have to do things for other people. Unfortunately, it's not for myself. But if I can at least get that step to get out for someone else, then it can become for myself, which is what's important. But knowing that I have obligations, if you have a job, try to get to it. And I know that maybe sometimes you're not going to be able to get there, and that's okay. But as long as you try really hard,
Absolutely.
you did your best, right? I'd say having a support system, right? So I have, again, my therapist, and I have my family. Those are my main two. I have my mom, my dad, my sister, and I have my therapist. They are my own personal, like Avengers, I swear.
Sweet. Yes, yes, yes.
Hero, I also am on antidepressants, medication. I'm on a couple of different ones for all of my, combination of specific mental illnesses, right? I have a sleeping disorder. I have, anxiety. I kind of have all these different things. And for me, they've helped save my life, right? That combination with therapy, that 50-50. that's fine. But knowing that's an option is really helpful. So I'd say for the day-to-day, giving yourself a reason to get out of bed, forcing there to be a reason, whether it's to get up, feed your cat, or let your dog out, or to just or to just get in whether it's to, sorry, am I like completely disconnecting?
A little bit. Yeah. It's coming in
Sorry,
and out.
I don't know what's going on.
Worries.
Oh, so whether it's to, again, let your cat out, take a shower, or let your dog out, take a shower, you know, paint your nails, go get some coffee or some breakfast, feed yourself. Like, even if it's those little things to just get the day started, to know, okay, those are the things that I have to do to get your energy going. Like, those are accomplishments, and to get you on to the next step.
Absolutely.
Because those are big. Because when you are depressed and anxious and you're not doing well, those are really hard to do. I know personally for myself, that's really hard. You can do that, then you can do the next thing. And you can get dressed, then you can, you know, power through and do what you have to do in the day. And then by the end of the day, you say, oh my gosh, that was easy. Or that was hard, but tomorrow will be a bit easier, right? So knowing that you can take things on one at a time. You don't have to think, oh my gosh, it's Monday. How am I going to get this entire week? Think of it, okay, I can get through this afternoon. I can make it to get back home tonight, you know, and then I'll deal with tomorrow when it gets here, you know. But again, finding that support system, I think, is really important, to be able to reach out to people that you care about and that care about you and that you trust and feel comfortable with, to have that conversation in case you are having a really bad time, to say, hey, I'm not okay, or saying, hey, oh my God, I'm amazing, let's go out. Like, yes, you know, to celebrate the victories and to comfort in those times of need. So
absolutely,
finding your own skills and support system is very important.
Okay, I love that. Yeah, I mean, for me, I would say, you know, keeping it 100% honest, in my life, I have definitely, I can relate to the anxiety situation where, you know, growing up in a very strict household, you know, where there was very little tolerance for failure or any type of weakness or vulnerability was challenging. And I think I didn't know it at the time, but it created that sense of like, I have to just be productive and a winner all the time. It becomes overwhelming, and it can manifest. And for me, sometimes it's manifested in chest pains. Sometimes it's manifested in sickness, you know, and it's correlated with other type of health issues that I have, having hypothyroidism. And for me, I guess what I have done to try to work through that is just try to be kind to myself. I think so many of us speak so ill to ourselves, right? And we've talked about this before. Just like, have you said something nice about yourself? Have you complimented yourself? Have you told yourself why you're beautiful, why you're capable? Things like that I have found to be very soothing and very helpful and reduce the anxiety, instead of the, oh my God, I love what you talked about, like breaking life into transactions, instead of this like major concept of like, oh my God, there's so much to do. What do I need to do in the next 15 minutes? Like working from a 15-minute interval, right? Because once they add up, right, then you're like, okay, I got this first hour, I got this second hour, we're killing it. We're like Avengers. This is amazing. Like, let's go, Thanos. Like, let's go. You know, so definitely I relate to piecing out your day. And like you said too, if you don't accomplish the to-do list, it's not an opportunity to shame yourself. It's an opportunity to say, okay, well, these were the things that I did do, right? And that's awesome. And really celebrating and focusing on what you did do. And maybe tomorrow you can do more, and you can really work towards having the fulfillment that you need to do every single day. Because the issue with entrepreneurship is it's a nonstop cycle, right? Like, you have to constantly produce more, you have to network more, you have to innovate more. It doesn't stop. It's not like, oh, Thursday's here, right? Like when people are like, oh, I'm so glad the weekend's here. Like, yeah, I'm glad the weekend's here, but it's like, it's just it's another Tuesday. It's, you know, come on, man. Like,
already weekend.
Yeah, I think for me, what I have struggled with is like right now, not feeling well. The only time I get breaks is when I'm not feeling well, and that's not okay. It means I'm not feeding myself enough because my body is breaking down to force me to just not do anything, and it doesn't have to be that way, right? And you should treat yourself kinder and more lovingly. So that's something I've learned. Also, taking breaks purposely, right? Like purposely putting in the calendar to be like Friday, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. It is me and Netflix. How you doing? I love you. Let's have Tabon, right? Like purposely segmenting you time, because too many people do what? They say, "Oh, I don't have time for me," because you haven't inserted time for you. That's why. It's not that it doesn't exist. It's you're not prioritizing yourself. And I do want to circle back to what you were saying about, so currently obligations with others really get you out of bed, right? And I agree with you today. I had another meeting, and if I didn't have that, I would probably just have been under the covers screaming and writhing in pain. But I'm like, nope, I have got a beautiful date with a beautiful lady. We're going to talk about some healthy, good stuff. I'm going to get it together, goddammit. You better get it together, Natasha. So even though it's hard, and even though I probably I will pass out after we're done, I could, struggle little inch by inch, and you make it happen, right?
I literally just took a nap right before this because I went to the beach all day. Then I was like, okay, I can get a 45-minute nap in so I can get some energy. I can wake up and do this. We're going to have a great conversation. But if I don't, I'm going to then in an hour start to crash. I need to do this for myself, right? Yeah. So I literally laid down, I snuggled my cat for 45 minutes, got up, here we are, and we're going to get off, and I'm going to get in my pajamas, and I'm going to get into bed. And that's okay. And that's my Saturday night. And that's fine. This week was really, really long. So for myself, I know that tonight and tomorrow, I need to rest. I need to rest my body. I need to rest my head. I need to rest, right? My body and my head is yelling at me, rest, okay? So I am making that an obligation for myself. Tonight and tomorrow, I'm going to watch some TV. I'm going to have a snack. I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to sleep in. I'm going to hang out with the dog and the cats. And that's what I need to do for my mental health so that next week I can reboot and power through, right? Yes, so I need to rest again, right? But to put in those resting points more frequently makes the crashing happen less, which is important. It is really a great skill, and taking a couple hours for yourself a week is nothing,
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, people always think, oh, well, I don't have the time. I have to keep going. I have to keep going. I have to keep going. No, if you have time to sleep and eat, you have time to have an hour for yourself, right? Whether it is taking a nap, watching your show, catching fun, whatever it is, doodling, going to the coffee shop. For me, just getting to the coffee shop is always like a sigh of relief because it's something that I enjoy, and I don't make that an obligation for myself, because that's a luxury for me to be able to go and hang out, right?
Yeah.
Do it for yourself. That is for you, and that's what self-care. That's something that we all need to do, whether you suffer from mental illness or not. That is keeping your mental health in check.
Exactly. Right? Absolutely. And now, what would you say are some common mistakes that you see that others are making in the kind of entrepreneurial freelance community outside of like what we mentioned, which is not inserting me time, not taking care of yourself? What are things that you also see or you talk about with other, people in the community?
I just hear about a lot of burnout. I just hear kind of about people that are just going to the point where they're not even themselves anymore. They're barely functioning. They're not taking care of themselves. They're not eating. They're not sleeping. And then their work shows that, right? Because if you're not taking care of yourself, you're not able to basically function. Then the work you're doing, is that the kind of, then your work suffers because of it. And is that the work
Yep.
that you want to keep pushing out and pushing out and pushing out? Is something that you're not necessarily proud of, that doesn't truly represent you, right? So,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
in the community, I feel like we all kind of have a duty to check in on each other. You know, we see these really powerful, important people, you know, these really great, inspiring women working really amazingly, doing all these events like you know, you are going. And I always, you know, I feel like I need to check on you, in on you more. Hey, how are you actually doing? You know, because, you know, I have other friends who, you know, not only suffer from mental illness, but like have, you know, again, like other issues, and they rarely show it, and then they suffer in silence. And that's painful because they're not alone. And we really support each other and become stronger, and then produce our work better if we have that support. So if you are an entrepreneur, if you are, you know, an amazing powerhouse person just doing the most amazing work, but you could use a little love and a little self-care and a check-in, reach out to people. You know, if you need it, I guarantee you someone else does as well.
I love that. Oh, I love that advice. I agree with you. You know, it is hard. I have to purposely force myself to talk about how I'm doing, because I grew up with that mentality that like, that's weakness, that's vulnerability, and no one gives a shit. Keep it to yourself and be strong, because if you put it out there, people can use it against you. And it's really hard. I have to constantly like undo that, because there is so much beauty and so much strength in being not okay and being able to tell that to other people. Because like you're saying, the minute you share that, other people are like, you know what, today I hated today. I didn't want to live today. I didn't want to, right? People will pour in and it will break your heart, but then you'll also have this amazing bonding and beautiful, vulnerable moments with others. And then you're like, you know what? You're beautiful. You're beautiful. You're capable. You're capable, right? And so it's just like oh, I love you. I love you more. I love you 1,000 times. I love you 3,000 times, right? Like it's and it's just like this love fest, and you're just like, oh my God, I need you. I love you. I can't. And it's amazing. So I totally agree with you. Just like, you know, and I don't necessarily think, you know, it's something you have to talk about every day, right? Like, you know, I'm not a fan of people who use like Facebook as like mydiary.com. Definitely not. Open up a journal and write in your journal. You know, me and my journal go deep. We're like,
I think that there is a difference. I think that that's something that's like I don't know, used is like people, the way that people use Facebook as like a very, you know, stream of consciousness, talking about the details of their life, I think is a lot different than talking to your friend and actually like connecting with them and actually talking. I do have that. It is a little bit weird to me that people, and then, you know, talking about their families and things and really open, and then they get angry and, you know, and I guess that's just something that I don't understand. And I think there is a time and place for some things sometimes, but exactly, it doesn't have to be every day. But to be able to, even if it's once a week, someone that you see all the time, like checking in with each other, it can be really empowering. And, you know, like it really is, I think, important to be able to, you know, check on your peers and open up to each other, your family, your friends, your coworkers, at least a little bit, because one, it's humanizing. Two, it's, I think, necessary. Three, it's reality. You know, we don't have to be this fake perfect person. I don't know when this whole internet perfect lifestyle thing happened, but it's bullshit. You know, these influencers and entrepreneurs, they have these amazing lives and they're doing incredible things, and yes, they're meeting celebrities and they're doing channels and they're traveling the world. Okay, but like, how are you? Are you
that's deep.
Are you sad? Do you need a break? Are you exhausted? Are you burnt out? Like, maybe if you talk about these things, then you would even connect with more people, right? And I think that that's why it is our duty, you know, especially as like you and I, like, who are on the social media platform. I think it really is important to be, very candid and very open as much as we
Yeah.
can. Do I share everything about my life on the internet? No,
Yeah.
absolutely not. Some things
Absolutely.
are
Yeah.
private. I do try my very best to be as open and honest as I can. I
Mm-hmm.
constantly, when I'm going through a rough time, I say, hey guys, I'm having a hard time, just so you know.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been posting a lot. Just
Yeah.
wanted to share this because I know that if I'm going through it, someone else is too, or
Yeah. Yeah.
like that. And the responses are always incredible. Oh my gosh, I was just feeling this way. It's so nice to see that someone else feels this,
Absolutely.
and it starts the conversation and it normalizes
Yeah.
it because it is normal. What a crazy
Absolutely.
thought.
It's normal to be. Well, you're absolutely right. I was just at a panel event for the Love Group's first fundraiser earlier this week, and we got a question about social media and how do you kind of use it without being used, and my answer is simply kind of what you talked about. Like, social media is a tool. It's an opportunity to connect to communities, but it is not a tethering to it, right? You have to live your life. You're not living through social media. Social media is snapshots and curated snapshots of your life because people use filters. People take certain angles, right? It's not a reality snapshot. It's a fabricated snapshot. And then people do what? They do the comparison game, right? So they see, oh, this person's in Dubai. Oh my God, I'm not in Dubai. I'm not successful. Oh, this person just sold this book. Oh, I don't have a book. Oh, right. And it's a lose-lose proposition. You will never win the comparison game. You will only feel worse about yourself. So I would say that's probably one of the biggest mistakes I see people making, which is, this person has 50,000 followers. This person has 100,000 followers. Oh, right? Be in your lane, right? And focus on you and focus on the tools like social media, like networking, like building a support team for yourself that can help you and bolster you, but it is not meant to break you down, because it's very easy to look at social media and fall apart because you're working really hard, you're doing things right, and then you're not maybe having the same outcome as other people, because that's not your journey as of right now. Everyone's journey is different, and it's okay to also take a pause. I know some people need social media pause breaks. I think you have to decide what works for you. For me, I think you've inspired me to be, honestly, I think I need to be more open about when I am suffering, because I would say these last 4 months have been downright hell for me. And maybe my husband and my dad knows, but like, I don't really talk about it. Right. And it's not healthy. It's not healthy to suffer in silence. And maybe there could be more support that I don't even have, because I'm not willing enough to break open that that wound and share with people. So thank you. That's a big lesson for me, I think, right now. Yeah.
But that's incredible though, because one, better late than never, and two, it
Yeah.
is hard. And
Yeah.
that shouldn't go like unsaid. The fact that you are like willing to now want to open up, like that's an
Yeah.
accomplishment in itself, and that's incredible. And like, as you
Yeah.
know, like I'm always here. I love you so much. Oh my God, if you ever need anything, like I am a support for
Yeah.
you. If you need to call me, text me, like no matter what, you've been there for me more times than I can count, more times
Yeah.
than most people have probably, you don't even know how incredible this woman is. How many times I probably cried to you on the phone. But we need that sisterhood, we need that connection. And like
Absolutely.
literally you have gotten me through some of the toughest times in the past 4 years, literally. And
Yeah.
without literally our relationship, I don't know where I would be today. Right? Literally. I don't know if I'd be doing what I'd be doing. I don't know if I would have been able to get through those tough times mentally without your support, right?
Absolutely.
Because you are a part of my coping and my self-care,
Thank you.
and we all need that. So I hope that you have that, and I hope that everyone has that, and a
Yeah.
lot of that.
Yes, thank you, love. Oh my gosh. So I guess out of all of the things that you've learned from dealing with mental health, embarking on your entrepreneurial journey, what would you say has been the biggest lesson you've learned so far?
Oh man, that's tough. I think that's a tough one. I feel like I've learned so much.
Okay.
And I feel like it's all kind of been one just life lesson, You know what I mean?
Okay.
I don't know if I can point it to one, just because it really has like shaped me to the human that I am today. You know, this whole
Mm.
entrepreneurial career that I've, started, I did it when
Yeah.
I was 22, 23. I'm going to be 26
Hmm.
in a week. Like, this has been my so far adulthood. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've done a lot of growing these past couple years, mentally,
Yeah.
emotionally, career-wise. And I think the biggest thing that I learned is probably that it's hard, but it's
Mm.
possible. Because for so
Mm.
long, I thought that it wasn't possible. And I thought, oh,
Absolutely.
maybe it's hard because it's not possible. But no, it's difficult because
Mm.
that's the process of getting it done, right? Is that it's
Yeah.
not going to be easy.
Mm.
Of course it's not. It is possible, right? Like,
Hmm.
I have this career. I have, this life for
Yeah.
myself that I didn't think was possible because I
Hmm.
I I thought it was going to be impossible. I thought it was going to be difficult.
Hmm.
I thought, oh, it's going to be so hard that I'm not going to be
Yeah.
able to finish. I'm going to have to stop.
Mm.
But it was really, really hard, and I continued to
Yeah.
push through, and I'm doing it, and I'm
Yeah.
continuing to. And to know that it will
Mm.
still be hard in the future, I know that it will
Yeah.
get easier
Yes.
because it's
Ooh, I love
gotten
that.
this far. There will be easier
Yes.
times, there will be harder times, but I think the biggest thing that I
Mm.
learned was that it is possible, you
I
know?
love
Uh,
that. Wow.
and that was really monumental for me in my
Mm.
life. It's a life lesson.
Hmm.
That's not something that I
Yeah.
take for granted.
Absolutely. And thinking on that path, I would say for me, entrepreneurship was something that always fascinated me, but, it really came to fruition when, I was in a position where, I didn't necessarily have a day job at the time, and I had to figure out what the next steps were. And instead of just being like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to do, I kind of consciously chose this path and chose the opportunities to be more creative and to be more definitive with who I want to be in my career and who I want to be in this world. And I would say, from this journey, but even beyond that, like earlier on when, dealing with like, not knowing where I was going to live, not having food, not having heat, like real crazy shit happening in your life that one should not deal with as a child, one should not deal with as a human being. I think at the end of it, for me today, I'm feeling very grateful for it because it's made me a more compassionate person, right? Homelessness is something that became a lot more real to me when it was in my when it was in my face, when it was something I had to deal with. Dealing with even mental health issues, right? When people are breaking down and falling apart, it becomes your reality. It becomes something you have to deal with. So I'm grateful for the obstacles. I'm grateful for the challenges. And like you're saying, because not because, they're going to break you, but it's because you can overcome it, and you're going to be actually better from it, and you're going to be stronger from it, right? If I didn't suffer the amount that I have suffered in my life, I wouldn't be who I am today. So I'm grateful for every pain. I'm grateful for feeling complete crap right now. Grateful for it because I know that if I have this again, I can overcome, right? And it's because sometimes, like in life, you have to, to get through it, you can't go around it. You have to kind of go through it, and it's hella hard. Like you're just like, holy moly, holy moly, guys. But
Holy
you work,
moly.
holy moly, listen, right? Good, sweet Jesus, right? Just, oh, good Lord. But
Yeah.
you do. And you become your own testimony. And, when people ask what makes you strong, you laugh because you're like, ha, 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 what doesn't make me strong? Are you kidding me?
Oh,
Good Lord, right? The near-death experiences so many of us have, the complete visceral treatment we get by others, the bullying, the self-harm, right? Like all of the major things that happen in our life, they make you who you are today. You have to hold your head high and be proud of everything you went through. So I'm just grateful. And I didn't understand that when I was younger, because when you're younger, you're like, why is this happening, right? We love that victim mentality. Like, oh my God, no, take that on because you're going to be a freaking warrior. Like, I'm ready for Wakanda. I'm ready. I'm ready. I have battled myself, I have battled others, and I've won. And it's incredible, and I don't know how I get through it. But you do, because you're meant to, right? Because if you're not meant to deal with it, you wouldn't deal with it. That's how I take it. So I love it. All right. So now I guess, what was I gonna say? We've been, yeah, we're good. We're good on time so far. But what would you say have been some tips for people, for people who maybe aren't even thinking about their mental health, right? What could they do to maybe be more in touch with themselves and be more real about some of the struggles they're dealing with?
Right. So like an automatic like thing that I always kind of like check in on with myself is because sometimes I forget. Like sometimes I forget, oh, I have pretty severe mental illnesses and I forget to check in with myself because life happens, you know? Like honestly, I've said to a couple people, like honestly, like this past year, like from like September to like February, I kind of feel like I was in survival mode because I did not have an option to take a break like I had, right? So, because I had to go, 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 go. It was a lot of work, it was a lot of travel, it was a lot of family events. Like I didn't have an option, right? I had to survive. I had to just go. So getting out of that, I kind of forgot and it was like, oh, just like back to reality. But a thing to check in with yourself is, and even if you again, if you don't really, know really about your own mental health and things like that, I'd say just like one thing is like, oh, am I enjoying things that I used to? Am I, because like for me, like that's a major red flag for myself, like because I do enjoy so many things. Like when I stop wanting to go to the coffee shop, I'm like, oh shit.
The problem.
Oh boy, okay, right. And then that kind of flips the switch and say, oh no, okay, right. So maybe I'm really not going through a good time right now because then, and then you kind of see the other things, right? So what is your light switch for yourself to kind of like check in with yourself? Whether it's like you stop working out, if like that's like something that you love, it makes you feel good, right? If you kind of start taking care of yourself, if you don't want to get out of bed every single day, because once in a while, who doesn't want to get out of bed? But if it becomes a regular thing, I think that there's a lot of cues for every single person to identify themselves, because when it comes down to it, you got to be honest with yourself, and if it's just a conversation with yourself, you don't have to put on a mask for anyone else. So if you're not doing okay, if you're faking it, I know many times I've had to fake it or felt like I had to, when in reality and I knew that, right? So if you figure out those cues for yourself, that identification in itself is amazing. If you can identify that maybe something's not right, awesome. Yes. Because like that's the first step. So many people I feel like suffer and don't know what's going on and don't know why, and oh, something feels funny, I just feel sad. There's a difference between being sad and being clinically depressed, you know what I mean? It's like you make excuses, oh, I'm just tired. No, if you're truly suffering, if you're having issues, that's okay. Okay, so the next step, get help. There is so much of it, right? So educate yourself. If you don't know much about therapy, educate yourself. If you don't know much about medication, educate yourself. Talk to people in your life who are on medication and do go to therapy. I guarantee you they do. Whether it's, I guarantee you one of your friends goes to therapy. Figure out which one it is and talk to them. And if it's not one, it's a few. Okay?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Find out what's best for you. If you don't know, where to get help, the internet is your friend. I would say the best first source would just be the National Alliance on Mental Health, on mental illness, NAMI.com or .org. That's just like the first, like I would say, basic source of information in the United States for mental illnesses. It can connect you there, give you statistics. There's so many stories. right? So
Mm-hmm.
take advantage of them, use them, and talk to people in your life.
Mm.
And again, check in with yourself. Know when you're acting funny because no one knows you better than you do.
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, I shared that. So yeah, I completely agree with you. I think for myself, when I've realized that I'm overwhelmed, I'm not feeling good, I'm feeling like chest pains or overly anxious, I absolutely will do what you're saying, which is I pause and I'll just be like, am I happy? No. Right. You're absolutely right. People know when they're happy or not. It's not some mystery of the universe. It's not in the Bermuda triangle, like cut the shit, like you're happy or you're not happy. Right. Okay. So I'm not happy. Why are you not happy? Oh, it's not because you didn't get chicken salad. It's because it's like some other stuff really happening, right? Maybe you're dealing with trauma. Maybe you haven't dealt with trauma. Maybe you're frustrated in your job. Maybe you're frustrated in your relationship. Maybe you're frustrated with your family. Figure it out. I think, yeah, the real thing is you have to get like really real with yourself and don't be like, oh, I used to say, when I was younger, like, oh, I'll work on mental health stuff when I'm older. That's a horrible notion. Working on mental health stuff is about now, right? And there's no better time than now because otherwise it's going to impede your success. It's going to get in the way of you actually accomplishing things. Because if you're not okay here, then how can you write? How can you speak? How can you be a mentor? How can you be a leader in this world? You can't because you're constantly like, oh my God, I don't feel well. Cut the shit, right? And really get on top of this because it's really important. And if you don't, it can escalate. And that's what's really scary, that like suicide is up, right? Like people are taking action based on the inaction that they've had for their mental health, and it's preventable. It's not like, oh, not everyone has to take their own life or turn to substance abuse. Oh my gosh, like there are other options, right? But you have to, the first question is, yeah, are you willing to be real with yourself? So I completely concur with that. Now, I guess now I would just love for people, when it comes to, also, do you want to mention that, isn't there an app that you're like a big fan of? Is it BetterHelp.com or what's the app
BetterHelp? Yeah, that was incredible. Yeah.
Explain that to people. What is that app about?
It's an app that you can get 24/7 access to a therapist at a very, very reasonable price. People pay hundreds of dollars just to go to one therapy session like every other week, right? You pay one price and you can for an entire month, per month. It's like amazing because so many people don't have access. They don't have insurance. They're not in school. They don't have counselors. I have so many friends who were like right out of college and they like didn't, because they would go see the counselor, which was free, right? And then they were out of college. They didn't have a job. They couldn't pay for a therapist. They didn't have the right insurance, but they needed the help. Like so many people that need the help don't have access to it. So apps like BetterHelp, getting information like through organizations like NAMI, like these are really, really important and vital resources for not just the mental health community, but just the world,
Absolutely.
So I highly recommend checking out for literally anyone. I think everyone needs a therapist. I truly do. Therapists need therapists. I think really it is. It is literally, it's true. I highly recommend it. Even do you go to the doctor to get like your yearly checkup, right? For your body, for your physical health. Why wouldn't you do that for your mental health? I don't get it.
Exactly.
Why would you not? Why would you not? You go to get your physical, right? You check to make sure everything's working okay. So like even if you don't go to therapy every week or every month, you should go once a year, just making sure, everything's oiled up and everything's working fine. The wheels are turning. It's good. I think that I support therapy.
You're like #therapy all day, every day, baby. Yes. I love it.
I wish. Oh my God. I would go to therapy all day, every day if I could. Oh my God. I'm very lucky. My therapist is incredible. Like he's awesome. Like he's a rock star. He gets it. And also when shopping for a therapist, know that you have to shop for a therapist. For those who don't know and I think that people are turned off because, they go meet one person and it's not a good fit and then they never go again. Just know that like you kind of have to like find your right fit. Like
Yeah,
you have to be able to feel comfortable with the person. And just because you don't connect with the one person doesn't mean that someone else won't. So if you have to meet
absolutely.
with a few till you find your right one, that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
Because that's what I did.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's like shoe shopping, right? Like you don't go to
Mhm.
DSW and the first pair of shoes you try on, you're like Cinderella. Like no, like you got to put your foot in. You're like, this rubbing on the side. Wait a minute, that's too big. I need a half size. You know, you go in there and you spend your hour and you come out with bags and you're like, damn, how did this happen? But at the end of the day, you got what you needed. You're looking cute. You're looking fly. You're ready for summer. Hello, right? Or you hopefully are shopping on StyleForIt.com and you're getting what you need. So I guess the other question I would have is just for the latter part of this year for 2019, what is something that you're pledging for yourself for mental health to do that maybe you haven't done earlier in the year to really kind of either change the narrative about something or to make something better or to work with something that maybe you haven't worked with before?
So it is still, so we talked about this, I think, last time. I don't know if it was when I talked to you on the phone or whether it was in the live, but I
Yeah.
am making a decision for myself that I haven't really done before. I need to make time, like we talked about before. I need more
Yeah.
time for
Okay.
myself to do
Gotcha.
um, more body self-care because
Mm.
I really neglect the comfort of my body. So,
Mm.
I'm very sore and I hurt. And so I want to be
Mm.
able to make sure that I have time every week to give myself, like a face mask to do my nails,
Yeah.
to kind of have that ritual
Yeah.
of self-care because that will make me feel good.
Yep.
And if I can physically feel good, I can mentally feel good, right? So if
Mm.
on
Yes.
Sundays I have for myself, then on Monday I can get up and go through the week starting off feeling good. I know
Yes.
for me, like those things, that's why I do my makeup every day. That's like one thing I know that's like really important to me. It's putting on my war
Mm.
paint every day. I've always made that, example of
Yeah.
it, is that that's something that makes me feel every day because if the
Mm.
whole day goes to shit, at least I felt good about myself, you know?
Absolutely.
At least I
Yeah.
look cute. That's always kind of been my
You
thing.
know.
But, but I really, for me, for the rest of the year,
Yeah.
I really, really, really need to start actively doing that more. Um,
Mm.
I feel my body's yelling at me. I feel my head
Mm.
just directly telling me this is what I need. So for me,
Yeah.
that's what I need to do. I need to be able to
Okay.
really, I want to take care of my skin, my feet, and my hands so that I can power through. I
Yeah.
can travel the country. I can do these jobs. I can go to these meetings. I can
Mm.
work for these brands and do it strongly, physically and mentally.
Mm. I love that. Okay. For me, I would say two things. So I've shared before on the platform that, I'm moving from New York to Arizona. And for me, that was a big choosing myself. I know it's sad. I'm not going to be in the Northeast anymore, but I know everyone's like so angry with me. They're like, how dare you, Natasha? I'm like,
It's
listen, I
okay.
got to,
It's
I
fine.
know.
It's
It's
okay.
but you know what it is? It's a great excuse to get everybody out to the West Side. I mean, you go to LA all the time, so you know the West Coast is beautiful, and it's. I mean, listen, every place has its issues, but for me, the New York weather it's killing me. I feel like I'm dying here. So
I feel like you've been
I've
on
made.
New York for quite some time. You've been done.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm making the choice to change my life in a way that I can physically feel stronger and happier and healthier, which in turn will what? Give me more confidence, more calmness, less anxiety for the mental health piece of things. And then the second thing is I'm taking after you tonight, which is, yeah, I have to stop the suffering and silence. And it's okay to not be okay. And it's okay to talk about it. And not, again, it's not an everyday thing, but it's just, once a week, let's just have a mental health conversation, right? Let's keep the conversation active so that if other people are hurting, we can empower and lift each other up, right? It's not a bitch and moan fest because I'm not about everybody coming on here. Oh man, this hurts. And like this hurts, but you know, I learned this, right? Like, where are we moving? What is the bigger impact of it, and how can we support each other? But definitely, I think that's what I want to focus on for the latter part of this year, for my mental health as well as physical health and all of that. So with that, how can people how can people champion you? How can people work with you, get updates from you? Where do they go?
So my main platform is Instagram at faith_plus fashion. However, you can just go to my website, faithcosta.com, and everything connects there. I have my Facebook page, as you can see. I have my art pages and everything. Again, just go to faithcosta.com, and you can find me anywhere there.
Okay, perfect. So with me as well, if you're interested in having a conversation like me and Faith do every month, if you're interested in giving us ideas, tips, things, again, you can always find me at dressingroom8.com. And of course, you can find StyleForIt at StyleForIt.com. With that, what was I going to say? Any other last words of wisdom before we close this amazing conversation?
I think you said it best. It's okay not to be okay. And, no matter if you're watching this, know that you're looking at two people right now who, we've gone through things. They're similar and they're different. And we've got through them, and we are strong, and you are strong, and you're not alone. That's just the basis of it. You're not alone. You can get through it, and you can thrive. You can thrive with mental illness.
Absolutely. Yes. It's not about surviving. It's about thriving and creating a space for you to do that. And no matter what it takes, because you're worth it, right? You're always worth it. And your mental health matters always. Whether you have an illness or not, your mental health matters, right? And I hope everyone listening, watching really takes that to heart. Guys, share this out, because we need to have this conversation over and over again, because there's a lot of stuff happening in the world, and the mental health community gets blamed for things that shouldn't be blamed for, and then doesn't get acknowledged when it needs to be acknowledged. We've got to be more. We have to demand more. We have to demand more from each other, and we have to do it for ourselves and for our children, because, sadly, everyone's affected. Whether you're 5 years old or 90 years old, we're all in this together. So thank you, Faith, for being a warrior, a BOPO warrior, a mental health awareness warrior, for being brilliant and beautiful and so real and so inspirational. You just amaze me every single day. And thank you always for your time and wisdom.
You right back at you. Oh, always.
Thank you, loves. Thank you for everyone tuning in, and you enjoy the rest of your day, and stay tuned for our next conversations. All righty. Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.